boy complete, shot down. This for the crib. I got my guys quiet, storm, and arrogant. Yeah. Tiger, the beat banger on production. Feeling that. So turn your radios up. It's something you can feel, y'all. Come on. I speak with the spirit of Martin and Malcolm for brothers willing to ride no matter the outcome. And for all the single mothers, the haters and the lovers, the weakest and the toughest, brothers who bring the ruckus, and all of my guys who win the grind, who love the hood and hate it at the same time, man. Trust me.
All right, now what's going on? This is Tiger X, and welcome to my new channel, Tiger X Boxing. You know, when I made the decision to try to start doing videos and make a channel, it was no way at all my intention to become the respond to other people's video guy. And I'm hoping that that's just not my lane that I carve out for myself. But once again, I just felt compelled. First of all, shout out to the LDBC and the whole online boxing community. All the brothers that I listen to every day, you inspire me, and I appreciate you guys. Shout out to 78 Sports TV. I was listening to this brother early this morning, enjoying the video as usual. And as soon as the video was over, I run into this video right here that I'm responding to. Now, all the brothers that I listen to every day, and I have a lot of respect for these brothers. One thing that I think I've noticed about them is when they respond to certain things and issues, I very rarely hear them call another channel or a person out by name. They're usually kind of general in their speaking. So I don't know if I'm breaking a code here or not. And these are brothers who don't bite their tongue, who will give it to you, you know. So if there's any online code that I'm violating here, please forgive me for that. But I'm responding to one guy in particular. HatManStrikesBack. You're killing me, bruh. This video is for you. As a matter of fact, I really don't care if you are the only one that sees this video. I'm probably wasting my time, man, but I really, really, really need to try to give you some things to think about before you make your next video on the subject of Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. You know, one of the guys that I listen to every day, and I really enjoy and have a lot of respect for, I heard him mention you a while ago, and he talked about how much he enjoyed your videos and how much respect he had for you. And, you know, so, and when I listen to you, man, you go out of your way to try to come across as neutral and like you just, you know, you're not for one side or the other side, man. And you really sound like the stuff that you're saying, you believe it. And that's the part that kills me, because it comes, I mean, it's like you're saying stuff, man, that I just can't believe that you believe. And if you do, man, I mean, that's even more reason why I just feel like I need to give you some stuff to think about. I was listening to my dude 78 this morning, and I forgot what in particular what he was talking about. Probably this same thing, but he was talking about how he couldn't lie to himself about shit. And I'm just that same dude, and it just kills me when I see it elsewhere. Okay, so you started your video off today with saying that let's play devil's advocate here and say that AJ and Eddie Hearn are the ones avoiding this fight. First of all, bruh, we do not have to play devil's advocate. We do not have to think in hypotheticals. Everything that has happened, and I mean everything that has happened, I mean, there's just no two ways about this, and you can't make no two ways about this, no matter what you say or what you do. You know, I cannot believe that common sense could be that different no matter what side of the pond you're on. I know that facts don't change because of what side of the pond you're on. Now, I have listened to a few of your videos before, bro, and your narrative is always the same, even though you claim to be so neutral. Your narrative every time is to paint us to be, on this side of the pond, some overzealous, emotional, Wilder fan people that are just not thinking rationally. Then you kind of paint a slightly different picture on that side of the pond. You know, low-key defend Anthony Joshua, talk about what he's done in his 19th fight as opposed to what Deontay was doing at his 19th fight, and so on and so forth. You know what? I'm just really going to remind you what you said, man. And then I'm going to give you some real questions just to ask yourself with the same things that you stated. Okay. So you said, let's pretend for a second and try to that Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn are the ones avoiding this fight. And let's try to figure out why they would do that, why they would duck. And you said the first thing that most people come up with is just him being a coward. Now, you know what? I'm not going to call him a coward. I'm new to this, what I'm doing, and I really haven't had a chance to introduce myself yet. But because of my own background, because of my own personal relationships with fighters, I'm not quick to use that word as it relates to fighters. Because the one thing that I am mindful of, and I'm going to go do some research on this as far as how often this has happened, like in very recent times, say even the last year or two. I'm mindful of how dangerous this sport is. As a matter of fact, what I do know for sure, without being able to pull a number up right now, is that there have been more deaths in this sport, like recently, than we care to think about, talk about. Is never mentioned. That's not part of what we talk about. But it's a real situation. So I got the utmost respect for anybody to step between this in this square circle, because I know what it is, and I know the people are risking their lives every time they do that. So for me, if you have made it a decision to be a professional fighter, I won't call you a coward for that reason alone, okay? But you asked the question, why? And then you really kind of answered it in your own video. But before you answered it, you made these points. You spoke about the fact that Anthony Joshua has fought Dillian White, Charles Martin, Dominic Breazeale, Eric Molina, who you says he handled better than Deontay Wilder, Klitschko, who you keep going out of your way to mention Deontay Wilder didn't fight, Charles Tackham, who you say was arguably better than any opponent Wilder's ever fought, with the exception of maybe Ortiz, and Joseph Parker, who you also go out of your way to mention that Deontay Wilder didn't fight, as if he wouldn't have fought him. And you use the example that he has fought. You use those guys as an example of why he could not have any concerns against. Well, I'm gonna use the word why he couldn't be afraid of because even I'm not gonna call him a coward. A fighter can't be afraid of another fighter. Have concerns, serious concerns about another fighter. Have an understanding that fighting a certain fighter can be a massive, massive risk, as Eddie Hearn said. So you use the fact that AJ fought these guys as proof that he cannot be ducking Deontay Wilder. Well, ask yourself this, though, sir. Why was he able to make all of those fights that you just named so easily? Why was it none of this other stuff that's going on with Wilder? Why was none of that other stuff going on with those guys? None of it. None of it. They gave Joseph Parker a percentage in the fight. They offered Deontay Wilder a flat fee, even though it's nobody who looks at this fight that doesn't know that this is a bigger fight and that Deontay Wilder is more deserving of a percentage than anybody he's ever fought. Now, is that something that you can really argue with, man? I mean, can you really look in the mirror and say that this is not the biggest fight for AJ? This is not the most dangerous fight for AJ? This is not the most money fight for AJ? Well, if all those fights were a lot easier to make, just let's stick with the last one. If he was willing, if Eddie Hearn was willing to offer Parker a 35% percentage, why would he offer Deontay Wilder $12 million, $15 million, just some kind of flat fee? I mean, don't that let's start right there. Don't that alone strike you as something? What would be your excuse for that? How would you explain that? I would like to know. When you ask yourself the question, I would really wonder what your answer would be. I mean, reasonably, if not something along the lines of making it difficult and it being a different situation here and them not really wanting to fight. And, you know, if I could digress here for 1 second, man, the one thing I really need you to not do in your next video, because I have heard a few videos of yours and you do the same thing in every video where we're talking about these two guys. I need you to not make up stuff if you're going to claim to be so neutral about Deontay Wilder. And you go out of your way to say facts, facts. AJ fought this guy, facts. That was better than Deontay's record, facts. But listen, man, like you say, Deontay Wilder didn't fight Klitschko. He didn't fight Parker. Why didn't he not fight them? Why didn't he not unify? If you're going to say that again, bruh, please bring out some receipts. I need you to come with a video, an article, or something where Klitschko tried to make a fight with Wilder and Wilder turned it down. You can't do that because that didn't happen. If you're going to say that Wilder didn't fight Parker, wouldn't fight Parker, then you got to come with some receipts, man. You got to come with some kind of article, some kind of statement, some kind of video, some kind of way that shows that Parker tried to make a fight with Wilder and Wilder said no. I can bring you some articles that shows Wilder wanted to fight Parker and he opted out for AJ. I can bring you some articles that show that Wilder wanted to fight Klitschko before he fought Fury, and it didn't happen. But if you try to represent again, man, that Wilder had an opportunity to fight these guys and wouldn't, and you can't show any proof of that, then you're just being disingenuous. There's no proof of that at all. There's no history of that. You're just making stuff up at that point, really. Lastly, bruh, in your own hypothetical, you acknowledge that Eddie Hearn's reasoning for not wanting to have the fight because of trying to wait to get the fight at Wembley as opposed to Cardiff, you acknowledge that was some BS. That the difference between 10,000 tickets wouldn't be enough to hold up a fight of this magnitude and lose this money. You acknowledge that. And you created other scenarios of what and where it may not be, but you acknowledge that's some BS. You also acknowledge that AJ takes him seriously, and that if he didn't take him seriously, he would have took his offer to fight in the U.S. for the $50 million, and that he didn't because he wanted, all of the he wanted all of the advantages in the UK, and you said that he looked at him as a very, very serious threat. That's the answer to your question. The question that you wondered, why would they duck, is really that simple. You don't have to look no further than that. You don't have to make up stuff. You don't have to imply that Deontay Wilder is the one who's actually trying to duck the fight. You basically admitted that you think that AJ thinks that Wilder is more dangerous than Eddie Hearn thinks he is. But we got Eddie Hearn on tape saying that this is a massive, massive, massive risk for AJ. So it's really as simple as that, man. To sum it all up, bruh, this is what I want you to do. All of the things that you laid out as the reasons to why you cannot accept the fact that AJ is afraid of Wilder, which is basically naming all the guys he fought and basically downplaying the people that Wilder fought and trying to compare the two. Just ask yourself this one question. Why is this fight so hard to make? Why was none of those other fighters that you want to name that he fought, why were they so easy to make? Why was it none of this running around? Why was this none of this lowballing and changing the goal line and saying I want this and changing my mind and now I want that? And just all these things that you got to try to figure out and make excuses for. Why none of that happened before? Why now? That's really all you need to ask yourself. That's all you need to ask yourself. And I'd love to hear what your answers are. This is Tiger X with Tiger X Boxing. I've wasted enough of my own time today. I'm out.
That's all I can. Shot down. This is for the crib. So turn your radios up. This is soul music. I put my soul into it. My brothers going through music for the soul. It's something you can feel, y'all. Come on. Music for the soul. Y'all better pay attention. Sit back and take a listen. Did I forget to mention that you don't wanna listen?